That's interesting, because I have a lot of image-conscious people in my life. I'm not, but I have a lot of image-conscious people in my life. You're going to see, with the higher nature and the lower nature, you're going to see vanity as the lower nature, sort of like the deadly sins. You'll see vanity as one of those sort of lower nature, sort of with type 3. Who considers themselves to be very image conscious? Okay. It would be interesting to see Chi-Chi, because remember, Chi-Chi had that trauma. Chi-Chi had a trauma when she was younger, that her mother shaved her head at 5. Was it Nigeria?
Yeah.
Nigeria, because it was too much trouble. And now she watches a lot of YouTube videos, and she's got beautiful long hair, and she's very much into the YouTubers and the makeup and things like that. But is that a genuine, personality trait, or is it more of a learned behavior or mask because of a trauma that occurred? Type 4, expressive, dramatic, self-absorbed, and temperamental.
Yeah.
Interesting. Self-absorbed. I'm a little self-absorbed. I have a client who refers to her mother oftentimes as self-referential. And one of the things you'll learn, and when we do the grieving, you'll see that part of the grieving process is referring back to me. Whatever the grieving process is, it has to refer back to me and to me and to me, rather than the other. Type 5, which is investigator. Perceptive, innovative, secretive, and isolated. So we've got our lovely Aniela there. And that's very Pluto. So this is very much our Pluto archetype. These markers suck. Just draw. This is going to be Uranus. This is going to be Mars. This is going to be the Moon. This is going to be Neptune. Let me read them and then I'll see what I feel. Type 6, engaging, so this is loyalist, responsible, anxious, and suspicious. This seems to be very Saturnian. Type 7, enthusiast, spontaneous, versatile, acquisitive, and scattered.
I like
That one you like? Do you feel scattered?
that. Yeah, all the time.
I feel very scattered too.
That's the enthusiast? Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
that's Jupiter. That's going to be Jupiter. These are my feelings.
You have a big Mercury right now.
Oh, that could be Mercury too.
Yeah, right.
That could be very much Mercury.
Because I'm
You
looking
know
at my
what
chart.
reformer might be?
I'm looking at my chart and I'm trying to figure.
3 could also be Venus,
Yeah, because I have that one in my.
and reformer can be
I have
Mars.
that one in my cluster, right?
And this could be Mercury, and this could be Jupiter. Am I missing any?
The sun.
The sun could be here.
Oh my God, these two.
And Chiron. I'm just gonna go with the main planets. We'll leave the asteroids out.
Uranus.
And this could also be a sun. so they get a feel. So you were looking at your chart, just so you get a feel for it.
Could Chiron be between individualist and challenger? 'Cause
The thing is that this is very Uranus. Chiron is more of a wound. If anything, I would say it's very peacemaker, very helper, because it's like a wounded warrior type of thing. So it's just to get a feel.
Yeah.
Remember, nothing is clear cut. These are archetypes, so they're spectrum. Okay. Type 8, challenger. Self-confident. This is the one you were saying that you were? Decisive, willful, and confrontational.
And I like to avoid conflict, but I can be confrontational, which it like battles each other all the time.
Okay, when you were young, describe yourself when you were young, 0 to 7. What would you say was your first trauma as a child?
Child abuse.
What age?
Around 7, 6 or 7.
Okay, prior to the child abuse, describe yourself.
I was playful.
Okay, what else?
I don't remember the rest of them.
Okay.
I like to read a lot of books and I was playful, so I was obsessed with Barbies and singing. So I think I was always like in a fantasy land.
Okay, very Neptunian, very peacemaker. What happened after the abuse? Is that where you would say that you became confrontational?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can ask clients about their trauma. And remember, according to Saturn, when we were doing that first death, remember that 7, those doors. This is that first death. Always ask 0 to 7. Ask that first trauma. And then you can ask them, how were you? What was your personality? Which wasn't really personality, but to describe themselves as a child. Remember mother, father, child triad? When you're asking, tell me about yourself as a child. So when she talks about playful and fantasy, fantasy immediately is a Neptunian. That's a peacemaker type of role. That's a non-confrontational. That's just like me.
And I hate confrontation. I hate problems. I want everyone to get along.
So you had to create a mask in order to defend yourself, because what need is created as a result of her child abuse? Safety. Okay, so now the world isn't safe, and she has to create a need. She has to meet a need. The world isn't safe. I have to become confrontational in order to make sure that no one violates my boundary. But that's not your essence. Your true essence isn't to be confrontational. And what I'm picking up on is based on the way that you're sharing that with your kids. If you really, really were confrontational, you would not have all of your kids sitting on top of you.
And I thought about that too. If I was so horrible, they wouldn't want to be with me. They'd push me away.
And you would have stronger boundaries.
Yeah. I pretend I want boundaries from them, but then I'm like, no, come on.
Right. It's like me. I'm a person that I tend to not have these very strong boundaries. I've had to work to create strong boundaries. And really it's been my experience with my clients, because I have to end a session. I have to create a boundary with students, with clients, things like that. But my nature, when I first started 15, 16 years ago, my professional career as an educator, oh my God, please. I took everyone home with me. I had 0 boundaries. Everybody had my phone number. I worked until the wee hours of the morning. I mean, it's like what we somewhat criticize now about people. I was that way. Hence, I had the same role. Because it's a need, it's an unmet need. Not having boundaries means means that you have an unmet need in yourself that you're hoping that these people will validate and fulfill in you. So setting a boundary is a forced sort of behavior. Now yours come naturally. Your boundaries come naturally. Now you have forced boundaries that we don't have for a protective nature. So something in you have to protect yourself. And you say, whoa. So we have to look at a trauma that she had as well that keeps her at arm's distance. But your essence, the way that you are with those kids, tells me
I turned into mush with them.
that the nature is not, the essence, the nature is not that confrontational. And that's what I've learned about myself with this experience of all these masks being taken. I'm going back to what that acupuncture teacher told me about the peacemaker. And that's why I felt that earlier. Doesn't mean that that's your number one trait, but there is peacemaker there.
Yeah, I hate confrontation. I tell them to go hug it out.
So confrontation. Anyone like confrontation, James? No. He's a Pisces too.
Okay.
That's another mask he puts on.
I think with my son, I might be between an Anila and a Nicole.
Well, this is the age to see it.
No,
He's 2 years old.
But
This is the age to see it.
I don't know if it's because he's sick or if it's the age or the stage that he's going through. But now all of a sudden he like gives me kisses out of nowhere and like hugs and he's like sit, like he wants to be.
Is he in school?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's also mimicking the teacher.
Okay.
Yeah. When they
'Cause
go to
I'm
school,
like,
they're mimicking the
why are you
teacher.
so close to me? Yeah.
But that's nice.
But yeah. Yeah, it's nice to an extent.
You're like,
Because,
ew.
No, it's not that. It's just I'm in shock, but at the same time, it might be because my mom was also like that, like at a distance with us, or with me mainly. So I'm learning to love him. And I always
Well, I think you love him. I think you might just be learning to be more physical.
Yeah.
Love
Right.
is relative. Remember, love is learned in the womb,
Yeah.
the type of love, and love is expressed differently. So this is not love.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
is just the expression of it.
I always tell him I care about you a lot. But I'm still, like I tell him I'm still getting to know you and
What?
we're-
What?
Yeah, I tell him that I care strongly about him because the word love is too strong. Like,
But
I don't take
but
love
he's-
lightly.
He's 2.
No, yeah.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
well,
He's adorable. I care about him.
He is.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
well,
but
the reason I
you
say that, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to come across so judgmental, but do you think he understands what that means when you say care as opposed to love?
Not at this moment, maybe.
I mean, I'm not.
Probably not.
I don't,
Yeah.
probably not,
Probably
yeah,
not.
I don't know, but I do also tell him that I'm sorry every night before we go to bed, so, yeah.
What are you sorry for?
Yeah.
What are you apologizing for?
The way I treat him sometimes. And it's not like I want to treat him that way. It's like my mom doing it.
Do you feel that you're being apologetic for him having you as a mom?
Yeah.
Do you believe that he picked you?
What?
Do you believe that he picked you? What are your beliefs about that? Because I'm a believer that our children pick us. So don't get me wrong, I have a lot of guilt
I
around
think it
my
was
parenting, but I do have a belief around.
I think it was more like a life lesson because of where I was at.
But I'm saying, do you believe that that soul picked you as a particular parent?
No, like I said, I don't think he picked me. I think he was sent to make me better. Excuse me, to make me better. To put me in the right path.
Okay.
It's not, so I guess it's like in a sense that he picked me, I guess. But
So if you can think that he was brought to you to make you better, could you consider maybe instead of apologizing, could you consider maybe thanking him?
yeah,
Just
I just like,
think about
'cause
that.
I apologize more is if I smack him or I had a really bad day and I took it out on him. That's what I apologize mostly about.
But maybe in addition to, thank him also.
Yeah.
Just think about it. Because if you do believe that he came to make you better, and you thank him for that, that might make you feel better too.
The thing
It's
about
just
it
a
is they
reframe.
always see,
Yeah.
they see through the mistakes that we make. They'll always see through it, and they'll run up and hug you, and you're like, why are you hugging me? I just yelled at you. But it's like my son last night, I came right in the door, we just left, we drove from Georgia, straight back home, and I sent him to bed, and I'm like, all right, time to go to bed. That's it, and then he runs out the room. I don't care if you get mad at me, I'm gonna hug you again. And I'm like, do you like seeing me mad? He's like, no, I still love you. And then lays back down. They see through all that.
Yeah, my son comes to me and said, because I like make a sad face, and when he does something now that's wrong, and he'll come up to me and say sorry, and I'll be like, it's okay, just don't do it again, because it makes mommy upset. Like I try to use words that are not strong or that come off strong, because I know what they do. So
Okay. I mean, but just consider that.
no, yeah.
That if you have, we have to think about what our beliefs are. Okay? So if your belief is that he came to put you on a specific life path, in addition to regañándolo,
Yeah.
punishing him for doing something wrong, or you apologizing for you doing something wrong, then consider thanking him for coming to put you on a specific path as well.
Or just being thankful and being grateful. I do that myself. I'm thankful that, I had a chance to have children. I'm grateful
Yeah.
for that. And also it's a matter of being comfortable, like, if you enjoy that he comes and hugs you,
Yeah.
then maybe don't question and just
No,
maybe
yeah,
keep
like,
doing it. I mean, my
Embrace
kids
it,
and
right?
I
yeah.
will just hug for no reason.
Yeah.
My
Humans, you know?
kids will come to me and I'll be like, what? And they'll just like give me a hug. Okay.
Mine do too, and they're 19.
Exactly.
No, yeah.
It doesn't stop. And then, and my son who's going to be 13, I put him to bed. And my daughter, who's 16 and wise, is like, you're almost 13. Why is mom have to take you to bed? And I'm like, I don't care, because one day this is going to stop.
Exactly, and he's still your baby.
And he's still my baby. Exactly.
I saw my mom yesterday at the hospital, and she's like, "Oh, my baby, my baby." And she
You're
was
always
like,
gonna
"Baby,
be
right now I'm gonna be
baby."
46. I'm still her baby.
Exactly. That
It's
doesn't
just the
change.
reality of it.
My dad told us once that no matter how old we got, he would always see us. I was the oldest, so he'd see me when I was 8, and my brother when he was 6, and my sister when she was, 1 or 2. He said that's the way he'll always think of us.
Yeah.
So
Yes, yeah.
that never changes.
That's like the commercial. I don't know if you ever saw the commercial with the dad giving the car to his little daughter.
And she's
Oh,
like
yeah.
6, yeah.
But-
She's a little
Yes.
That's how you. That's
That's
how you're gonna
right.
see your
You're
children,
always
no
gonna
matter what.
see
No
them
matter
because
what.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great
But-
commercial.
but
It's
don't-
so funny to see this little
It
6-year-old
is.
driving a car.
So I'm just suggesting just embrace those moments because I think sometimes when we push away it's because you don't think you deserve it, but you do. You deserve those hugs.
No, and also I'm now, because I like this show, this series, so I'm kind of hooked on it. But
Which
now, Pretty Little Liars.
Oh, my daughter watches that. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, so it's confusing as shit, and I have like dreams like I'm in it. But so now what I'm doing is I'm watching it while he's at school, and then once he gets home from school, we play together. We go outside. We like watch a movie on the weekends when he's home. And then when he's taking a nap, that's when I use that time to. So whereas before I wasn't doing it. I was only thinking about myself, and I was like, fuck him, I'm gonna be on my phone and watch my. So yeah, I do see a difference there. Like, yeah.
So you're evolving and growing too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's what parenting is. We're
Yeah.
evolving and growing with our children. Trust me. And mine are 19 and 18, and I'm still like,
So it
this
doesn't
week
get
I was
easier?
like, oh, I have an epiphany. I'm like, oh, maybe I should do this and this, and I did it. You know, so it's just a process, you know. So, but we're always trying to go back to the essence of who we are. I am a believer that these experiences are to eliminate these masks and these, you know, difficult times or these deaths that we're having, is to eliminate, you know, the mask that we've sort of worn as a result of having to develop these sort of fake personalities, so that we can get back to our true essence. So number 9, the peacemaker, easygoing, self-effacing, that's me. That's definitely me. Receptive, reassuring, agreeable, and complacent. I would say I'm a little bit complacent, but I'm definitely self-effacing. I think that's the part that gets me. Do you feel that way, self-effacing? You know? Which one do you think you resonate with? Because he's Pisces, so it's curious to me.
Well, no, yeah. No, I can peacemaking.
Because you do have a self-destructive
I
tendency.
do, for myself though.
Right, that's self-effacing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
so that's a very Pisces thing.
For sure.
What sign are you?
Aquarius.
Aquarius. Okay. And Carmen?
Your birthday's
Tomorrow.
Oh.
No,
Yeah.
it's the same day?
She's
Yeah.
like,
Happy
I forgot my birthday was coming though, that helps.
No?
1 month.
You forgot?
I forgot my
Your
birthday was
birthday's
coming.
tomorrow. My son is.
What do you mean?
Hands.
I was
I
talking
really
about
forgot my birthday was coming up. My kids asked me what I wanted to do, and I said, what do you mean? They're like, your birthday's, when's my birthday? Oh shoot, it's next week, and then I woke up this morning, I think it's coming.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's self-effacing. That's another peacemaker trait.
Yeah.
So we're picking up on that self-effacing quality, on that peacemaking. Yeah, I picked up on that.
I just forgot, I had a whole bunch of other stuff going on.
But there's something about our birthday. There's something about the importance of having been born.
Ooh.
And
His face.
you love your birthday? Okay, well, 0 to 100.
Birthday month.
Okay.
Birthday month.
0 to 100. Not important. Extremely important.
Acknowledge my birthday.
I was born, people.
It's a big deal.
That's okay. I know many people that celebrate their birthday
When is
month.
your birthday?
My friend Monique
March,
celebrates
that's
her
right.
birthday month. Makes it a point. June is Monique's birthday month, and I know this. So you're not alone. But there's symbolism in that. That isn't an accident that you forgot your birthday. It's almost like a trait or a quality that says there isn't an importance in me being here. So we have to look at that, okay? And these are things that you pick up on with clients, okay? These are, so I have this thing called Tell Me a Story, where any quality that a person says in a story goes back to the subconscious response. So you just shared a story that, oh, I forgot, my kids were like, what do you want to do for your birthday?
Yeah.
You know, that's a story, and it leads back to a subconscious response of, there's a lack of importance of your presence in the world.
There was never a big deal for my birthday growing up, so could be where it came from.
What's the first birthday you remember?
Honestly, when I was 14 and I had a house party and I blew out my fake dad's speakers and I pretended I didn't do it and I said I don't know what happened, but I was the most well-behaved person at that party and I was trying to be the mom to everyone and tell them, okay, stop, don't do that, sit down, come on. And then this past birthday party, my real dad just threw a surprise birthday party for me.
The one previous, 2018?
The one who really is my dad, he just threw a surprise birthday party for me with all the long lost relatives I didn't know and stuff, a bunch of them, and I walked in, I was like, holy shit, I'm about to walk right back out this door.
How did that feel to have so much attention on you?
It was weird. I don't like all the attention on me, so I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, I have to acknowledge every single person in this room, and I do not want to.
I want you to close your eyes for a moment.
I fall asleep.
Okay, close your eyes. I want you to take a big breath, a big deep breath. And I want you to hold it. Fill your lungs, fill your belly. And now I want you to let it out completely, 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 where you have no breath whatsoever. Okay, that was the question. What's more comfortable? The big breath or letting it out?
Letting it out.
That's a thing you can do with clients, and we've done this before. Ask them to breathe in, take in a big breath, or ask them to let it out. And her response, that's easy. People that don't feel significant in the world, people that want to hide, people that feel that they don't want to take up space, will feel very comfortable not taking in the breath. And so you can do an activity, if you're leading a group, if you're doing a meditation, if you have a one-on-one client, and you hear this sort of story, and ask them, that's a self-effacing quality. And I'm like that. The first time I ever did that, I'm like, oh, this is easy. I hated taking that big breath, because what we don't want to do is take up a place in the world or a space in the world that isn't ours. And oftentimes, we don't want to be seen. So we may not want to wear a lot of big, heavy, gaudy stuff. We may be seen in other ways, because all of us need to be seen. So we might put on weight, or we may talk loud, just because there's something that needs to be seen about us, or forced to be seen. We can't not be seen. But really the tendency is to want to disappear, is to want to be erased. And that's learned behavior. That's very peacemaker.
Starting to make sense.
Okay, so you can pick these things up from clients. So these things have passions, or vices, and virtues. And I have no idea.
Really? How did that happen so fast?
You,
I want to go get some. It's just, they're dry.
yeah, they're just. So you have a higher nature or a lower nature, or a passion and a virtue. Okay, so I'm now going to share the ones with you. So write these down. Okay. With number one, especially if you feel that you have this, your passion is anger. So if anger is, let's see if I can get it. No, I can't get it.
There you go.
So you can pick up on your client. What? Yeah. Let's see if there's one around here. I mean, I know she went to get one. No. So if you have a client that is expressing anger, don't get me wrong, we all have anger, especially during grief. Thank you. You might sense that the client is a reformer as a result of having anger. This is the primary, so these are the passions. And then you're gonna have the virtues. For the helper, you're gonna have pride, also known as hubris. This could also be the sun.